I never expected to find myself digging through my wife's purse that evening. It was a Friday like any other, or so I thought, until I stumbled upon the small notebook nestled between her wallet and a lipstick tube. Curiosity gripped me as I flipped it open, expecting perhaps a reminder or grocery list. Instead, I found meticulously handwritten notes detailing meetings and intimate rendezvous. Each entry was dated, each location vividly described. A clandestine affair laid bare in my trembling hands. The shock hit me like a tidal wave, leaving me breathless and disoriented. Images of our life together flashed before my eyes. Our wedding day, vacations, lazy Sundays in bed. How could this be happening? How long had this betrayal been going on under my nose? Questions swirled in my mind, but one fact remained starkly clear. My wife was cheating on me with her boss, the man I had met at company dinners, exchanged pleasantries with at parties, the same man who had complimented our home and laughed at my jokes, was intimately involved with my wife behind closed doors. The notebook became a damning testament to their deception. Entries chronicled lunches at secluded restaurants, late-night meetings in hotel rooms, under the guise of business trips, and the occasional quick embrace in parking lots. Each word etched into the pages felt like a stab to my heart, a betrayal so deep it threatened to consume me whole. I struggled to comprehend how I had missed the signs. Was there a moment when her smiles became less genuine, her excuses more rehearsed? Or was I simply blind to the truth, choosing to believe in the facade of our happy marriage rather than face the painful reality? Hours passed as I sat there, staring at those damning pages. Anger, disbelief, and hurt churned within me, warring for dominance. How could she do this? How could he? The images of their intimacy haunted me, casting shadows over every memory we had shared. Eventually, the silence of the house became unbearable, suffocating in its weight. With a deep breath, I closed the notebook and replaced it where I had found it. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, to demand answers and explanations. Yet another part feared what those answers might reveal, whether our marriage could survive such a betrayal, whether I could ever trust her again. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay awake in our bed, staring at the ceiling, grappling with emotions that threatened to overwhelm me. The once familiar contours of our room now seemed foreign, tinged with a sense of betrayal that hung heavy in the air. As dawn broke, I resolved to confront her. I needed to hear the truth from her own lips, no matter how painful. The notebook lay between us like an unspoken accusation, a silent witness to the unraveling of our lives. I couldn't shake the images from the notebook as I waited for her to come home that evening. Every passing minute felt like an eternity, each sound outside our door raising my anxiety. When her car finally pulled into the driveway, I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation that awaited. She walked in, her smile fading when she saw the look on my face. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, concern etched in her voice. Without a word, I held out the notebook. Her eyes widened as she took it, her hands trembling slightly. She flicked through the pages, her face draining of color with each entry she read. For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the ticking of the clock on the wall. "Is this true?" I finally managed to ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Her gaze flickered between the notebook and me, guilt and fear mingling in her eyes. I can explain," she began, her voice faltering. "Explain," I repeated, my voice rising despite my efforts to remain calm. "Explain how long this has been going on? How could you do this to us?" Tears welled in her eyes as she struggled to find words that would make sense of the betrayal. It wasn't supposed to happen like this," she finally said, her voice breaking. "I never meant for what?" I interrupted, my anger surfacing in a tidal wave. "To lie to me? To cheat on me with him?" The name hung between us, unspoken but heavy with accusation. He said he loved me," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks now. "I didn't plan for any of this." Her words hit me like a blow to the chest. Love? How could she utter that word now, after what she had done? Anger and hurt warred within me, battling for dominance, as I struggled to comprehend the depth of her betrayal. Just then, the doorbell rang, a sharp, unexpected sound that shattered the fragile calm between us. She glanced at me, fear etched in her features. "That must be him," she said, her voice barely audible. Before I could respond, she hurried to the door, leaving me standing there, numb with shock and disbelief. When she opened it, her boss stood there, a mixture of surprise and concern crossing his face when he saw me standing behind her. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice tight with apprehension. I stepped forward, the notebook still clutched in my hand. "You know damn well what's going on," I said, my voice trembling with suppressed rage. "How could you? He looked from her to me, his expression betraying a mixture of guilt and defiance. "Look, I didn't mean for any of this to happen," he began, but I cut him off with a bitter laugh. "Didn't mean for it to happen?" I repeated incredulously. "You destroyed my marriage!" The room filled with tension, the air heavy with unspoken accusations and regrets. For a moment, no one spoke, each of us caught in the web of lies and deceit that had brought us to this point. "What now?" my wife finally asked, her voice barely audible above the turmoil that surrounded us. I looked at her, at him, at the shattered remnants of what had once been my life. The future stretched before us, uncertain and fraught with pain. Weeks passed in a haze of strained conversations and sleepless nights. The revelation of my wife's affair with her boss had shattered our marriage irreparably, leaving us navigating the aftermath like ships lost in a stormy sea. Yet fate had one final twist in store for us, a twist that would redefine our lives once more. It was during a routine visit to the doctor that she received the news: an unplanned pregnancy. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog, enveloping us in a silence thick with disbelief and uncertainty. How could this happen now, of all times? As we sat in the sterile white room, the reality of our situation sank in. The unborn child, a product of her infidelity, cast a long shadow over our already fractured relationship. Thoughts raced through my mind. Could I forgive her? Could we raise a child together, knowing the circumstances of its conception? She looked at me, her eyes pleading for understanding amidst the turmoil. "I don't know what to do," she confessed, her voice wavering with emotion. I struggled to find words, torn between anger, hurt, and a strange flicker of compassion. This child, innocent and unaware of the chaos surrounding its existence, deserved more than the circumstances that brought it into being. Her boss, too, was entangled in this new development, his presence a constant reminder of the betrayal that had torn our lives apart. Would he take responsibility? Could he be a father to a child born from such deceit? Days turned into weeks as we grappled with impossible decisions. Conversations were tense, emotions raw as we tried to navigate a path forward. Counseling sessions offered little solace, the therapist's attempts to heal wounds feeling like bandages over a gaping wound. In the midst of it all, I found myself grappling with unexpected emotions, pangs of protectiveness for the unborn child. Despite the circumstances of its conception, could I find it in myself to separate the child from the betrayal that had brought it into existence? And amidst the chaos, a new reality began to take shape, one where forgiveness, though hard-won, held the key to a different future. The journey ahead remained uncertain, fraught with challenges and heartache. Yet, somewhere in the depths of my soul, a glimmer of hope flickered, a hope that perhaps, amidst the wreckage of our past, we could forge a new beginning. As we stood at the crossroads of our lives, the unborn child became a symbol of resilience, of second chances, and of the fragile bonds that held us together despite the storm. Whether we chose to embrace this new chapter or let it slip away remained unanswered. But one thing was certain: the echoes of her betrayal, his betrayal, and the unexpected life growing within her would forever alter the course of our lives, leaving us forever changed.